Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good day in general. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to CryptoTraders Room. It's a pleasure to have you. And if you're a new-time viewer, don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. And it's great that you found us. And don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. And stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And if you do find this information helpful, help us out and pound that like button. Pound it. Doesn't cost you anything. Matthew, good morning, buddy. You're the first one on here. Nestor, what is up? Great to see a new name. Welcome. Like I said earlier, don't forget to pound that like button and also subscribe so you don't miss any of these live streams. And I do end up doing, spur of the moment type of live streams. Sometimes they're chat and chill. But if there's crazy things happening in the market and I do have time for it, I will try to get on and do a live stream to keep you guys informed. But yeah, before we get started, for anybody new, just wanted to kind of show you what our website looks like. You can go to CryptoTradersRoom.com and you could sign up for our mailing list that way and also sign up for one-on-one consultation, personalized service that I am offering. So when you do go to CryptoTraders Room, this is a landing site that it'll take you to, and you'll click on Join CryptoTraders Room on the bottom in the yellow. David, good morning, buddy. Silver News, good morning. Welcome. Awesome. Glad you guys are pounding that like button. Definitely helps us out. But yeah, if you're a new time, viewer and you want to sign up for our general chat room, now remember, it's just a general chat room that we're offering, and we're very selective on who we do invite to this general chat room. So it's not everybody, and anybody can just join as they feel. But yeah, you have two options. The first one is to join the CTR basic chat room, and you'd click on Get Now, and basically it'll ask you to answer a quick questionnaire. And once you answer that, submit it, that'll send your invitation out to us, and then we'll go ahead and review that. And then if you're interested in signing up for the mentorship program, which is a one-on-one consultation to basically cover anything and everything that you're having an issue with, or in your trading needs, or figuring out how to really get started in this cryptocurrency market, because there are a lot of new people that are coming onto this market and they want to get involved. But it takes a lot, to be honest with you. It takes a lot of research. I had to do a lot of research to figure out, what a wallet is. How do I transfer from one wallet to another wallet? But we'll basically cover anything and everything that is a concern. And you'll click on Get Now. And then once that loads, you'll have the option of paying with Bitcoin or paying using PayPal. And then once you do submit that, you'll get an email from me or from CTR, basically, just kind of welcoming you to the one-on-one consultation. And it'll give you a link to my calendar. There are only 2 sessions per day that are offered. I don't offer too many sessions because I just don't have the time for it. But as time goes on and I'm freed up, I will be adding more sessions to that. But currently, there's only 2 sessions, 1 hour each. And then you'll basically just pick out the day that works for you and submit it, and then I'll be in touch with you in regards to how we're going to communicate. But that's a great way for anybody that's new getting involved into this market. But yeah, what is going on today in this crazy market? Crypto Cutter, welcome, buddy. It's a pleasure to have you as always. For sure. Good morning. Yeah, good morning, fellas. Hope everybody's doing well. It's a rainy day for me here. But let's go ahead and take a look at the overall market cap. Of course, 154 billion. That's kind of been hovering in that range for an extended period of time now. Bitcoin, of course, is starting to take, some sort of a pullback. It's not a huge correction. You got to expect these things. It's healthy. It's normal. But there are, altcoins that are actually pulling the market cap up, as if, Monday, the only thing that was really up big was Bitcoin. And everybody was selling their alts to get Bitcoin. Now I think they realized that, whoa, I'm selling at a loss on these really good, solid altcoins. And I highly recommend that you don't really sell your, very solid altcoin that you believe in, especially if it's, in the top 15, I would say. Don't sell it due to, things that are being spread. Free money is not easy money. And there's really no such thing as free money. So, to get Bitcoin Gold, to sell your alts, could have been a manipulation to stack up on your alts to get you to get rid of your alts so they could actually buy in. But there are a couple of cryptocurrencies today that are up. Omisa Go, thank goodness, that's making a comeback from falling below 7. And we're going to take a look at that because I still do have a position in that. Lisk is up also almost 14%. And that's basically what's in the top 20. I don't consider BitConnect to be part of that top 20, but that's a whole different conversation there. But yeah, let's see. Bitcoin is down 1%. Ethereum is down 1%. Bitcoin Cash 1.4%. Litecoin almost a little under a percent there. But yeah, a lot of the major ones, and it's basically Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Those are really the ones that are dominating in the top four, aside from Ripple. Those are the ones that are really up. Oh, I'm sorry, those are the ones that are really down. But everything else seems to be kind of holding the market up in the sense of the market cap, where Dash is up. Let's see what else. I don't know if Daniel's on here, but his Doge is up 10%. And my son's Doge as well too. So it's a good sign, but yeah, it's not where it needs to be, where it should be. Enrique, welcome, buddy. You just hodled BTC. Nice, dude. I mean, that's the best thing to do, to be honest with you. If you're in doubt, hold the top three, hold the top four. You can't go wrong holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Those top three. Those are the main solid cryptocurrencies. Yeah, I wouldn't kick yourself for it, dude. It's not down that much. I mean, it basically almost got up to its all-time high. 49.40 you got up to. That's huge. That is huge from that under 3,000 that we saw. Seemed like yesterday, not long ago. All right, but yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. I'm sorry, OMG. We're gonna also take a look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then possibly anything else you want me to take a look at. But before we do get started, if you are using Bitfenix, they did add a couple coins to it. Recently, they added QTIM, which is great. And this thing actually had a crazy run up. I think it was like 15 bucks that it ran up to before really pulling back down to 11.20. But that's going to happen when they're first listed on an exchange. So yeah, it definitely got pushed up in comparison to other exchanges that are supporting QTIM. But right now it looks like, on the 30-minute chart, it's consolidating. It's where it belongs. It's where it should be in comparison to the other exchanges. And then the other one that they recently added was AVT. I think it's Aventis or something to that extent. I haven't really researched it yet to see what it's all about. But that was a pretty big. I mean, that really flew all the way up to $7. And this is on a 30-minute price action candlesticks that we're looking at. So each candlestick represents, of course, 30 minutes worth of price action movement, whether it's up or down. But yeah, after hitting that 7, I mean, it got pounded to $2.70 as a low. So we'll see if this thing can get any lower. I wouldn't buy it here, but maybe if it retests the $1 level, I would probably consider it. But the biggest winner today, of course, is ETP, Metaversa, and that's up 74%, and that's huge. And I mean, I just recently saw it at 85 cents. It broke $1, 85 cents. I was really waiting for 60 cents. If you listen to a couple of the previous live streams that I've done, not the last one, but I think maybe 2 or 3 prior live streams where I kind of talked about, I am waiting for possibly 60 cents for it to get to that level, but it got to 85 cents and had a huge run up. Why did it run up? I have no clue. Hopefully there is good news to really maintain this type of move and to sustain this type of move. If there isn't any news, it's just all pure speculation, and that's all it is. And more than likely, it's going to end up coming down because there are going to be big profit takers. Oh, you missed the entry on OMG. Yeah, that's $7, man. That was key. That was clutch. If anybody got it, I mean, hats off to you. Virtual high five. Because really, from $7 to $9.36, that's a pretty significant gain to me. I would have definitely been locking in profits if I got in at 7. At 9, I would have been locking in profits. Not sell everything, but sell maybe 10% of the position that I would have. But it's still holding up pretty well. It is still holding up. My entry is 9, so for it to be at 893, I'm not sweating it. When I got to 691, I wasn't sweating it. Because I firmly believe that OMG is a very solid company, a very solid cryptocurrency. And I think, if you have a long-term outlook, excuse me, this can do wonders and it can do well. And as long as, they can penetrate, I mean, right now they're only in Asia, but if they can penetrate the US market, this thing should fly. And, can it get to 25 bucks? I firmly believe it can, but it's going to have some hurdles that it has to cross. So from the current level, we're looking at the 1-hour price action movement. Let's go ahead and plot out some lines and see if she hit. Well, actually, these were support and resistance that I plotted out a while back. And of course, it broke through that $7.60. So let me zoom out of here real quick. So it blew through that 760. Should have been a support, but we got to remember too, that wasn't a hard support. It was a very soft support. So anytime it's a soft support, more likely it's going to break through it, and it's always a probability. So the probability of it breaking through it are there. Now, if it was a very solid support where, numerous times it just kept on bouncing off that level, for an extended period of time, if that was the case, then that would be a very hard support, and more likely it would have bounced from that support again. But it did crash through it to 691, but it came right back up. So that's very, very bullish, in my opinion. But currently still holding that prior resistance of $8.90. Yes, it did go above it. And on the 2-hour candlestick, she did get above the 200-day moving average. And a lot of times, depending on what moving averages you're looking at and what time frame, they do like to play that as a support and resistance. And that's kind of what it did here. Let me zoom in. It had a hard time closing above it, but it did peak above it. But if we're just only looking at this and she had a hard time breaking out above or maintaining that 200-day moving average, it's short-term bearish. Now if she would have closed above it and hovered above that 200-day moving average, that would have been somewhat bullish at that current moment. But right now, it is consolidating. It is having a hard time breaking out above that 200-day moving average. But once it can confirm a breakout above it and maintain that breakout, and that's a very solid support for it. So we'll see, as the day goes on, what it's going to do. My plan on execution on this is to really start taking profit at $11. So let's go ahead and take a look at that $11 range. So, next resistance that it's going to have is right in between the $9 and let's just say $9.90 all the way up to $10.25, $10.20. That's going to be the other area of resistance that is going to have. Now, unless it can break out of it with a vengeance and give you a clear confirmation of a breakout, that is an area where I can, my honest opinion, see it either consolidate or break down and give it a little bit of a correction before, hopefully, as long as the overall market is doing well, before hopefully getting a nice run up to that 1050. And the 1050 is going to be, the second area of resistance for us. We have our first area of resistance, second area of resistance, third area of resistance is going to be that 1150-ish. So I'm looking to basically lock in a little bit of the profit at $11 if and when it gets up to that level. But let's see what you guys are saying, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. Yes, XRP is looking bullish. It is. And I don't know. I mean, the 100 banks under their belt, but none of the banks are utilizing Ripple. So, to be honest with you, in regards to XRP, there's a lot of new traders that are coming onto this market, and they're seeing, XRP and Ripple, and they think that they're actually investing in Ripple, but they're not. They're only buying the token that powers Ripple. And unless the banks are going to utilize that token, then I don't see this going anywhere. But yeah, it's speculation that a lot of new people coming onto this market thinking, oh, wow, Ripple has 100 banks under their belt that are going to be utilizing their technology. I'll go ahead and invest in Ripple and buy XRP. That's not the case at all. But no, it is, so, if you got into it, at a very low price, when it did have a correction, yeah, I mean, you got to take advantage of those profits. But yeah, it's until, a lot of people or everybody that's really trading, until they figure out that XRP really doesn't have too much of a connection to these 100 banks that are utilizing Ripple's technology. You got ATP 18 hours ago. So I don't know what the price 18 hours ago was, but you're probably doing pretty well. So you probably got it like 125, 130-ish, something to that extent. Yes, ABT was added, as well as QTIM was added. Got your ICO investment back. Is that from ABT, I'm assuming? And a lot of times, yeah, they will run up because they got listed on an exchange. I was very fortunate when I had OMG, and it got listed on Poloniex, I think it was, and it ran up from like, I think it was like $10.50 all the way to $13.50, and I cashed out, sold everything at $13.50. But that's because I had a sell order in the book. If I didn't have that sell order in the book, I wasn't in front of my computer, so I wouldn't have seen it, and I would have missed out on that. So It's always good to have a little bit of a sell order at, the high, and that was really the high. $13.70 was a prior high, and I got out at 13.50. The Bitcoin South Korea scammer did a pump on it. Yeah, South Korea has been supporting XRP. So when they dump it, what's going to happen? I think we all know what's going to happen. You think XRP will fall? I'm sorry, OMG will fall down. It really depends on the overall market, what the overall market is doing. To be honest with you. So if the overall market is on an uptrend, this will uptrend with it too. But yeah, if everything is selling off, like we saw on Monday, yeah, this will sell off with it as well too. This is not going to be the only one that's going to be going up unless there's positive fundamental news that comes out. If there's positive fundamental news, then this thing will go higher as everything else is going down. So that's really what they need. Silver News 724 OMG. That was your entry. So yeah, you're doing well. I mean, if you caught it in the 7, you're doing well. I would say anything from under 750 to 7. If you got an entry in that price range, yeah, hats off to you. That's pretty solid. AJ, welcome, buddy. Yeah, you're right. Alts are coming back up. And that's not what we saw on Monday at all. So I think people are realizing, that they basically gave up their favorite alt. If they were at a loss, that kind of sucks, and they sold at a loss. Hopefully they were in the profit when they sold to buy BTC. But a lot of people will suffer from that FOMO and say, I'm just going to sell everything and get into BTC. Ivan, welcome, buddy. Yes, OMG is getting ready to hold that 9, and it's really holding below that 9, which is pretty good. It's short-term bearish. I'm sorry, short-term bullish at the current moment. But anything could happen in this cryptocurrency market. We know that. Anything could happen. If it reaches $11 in the next couple of days, you'll shoot yourself. If I really had to give it a time frame, and these are, remember guys, these are only my opinions and my opinions only. Please do not trade based on what I say. Do your own due diligence. And you guys know that I'm not a licensed financial advisor, so don't listen to me, please. Don't listen to anybody that's telling you to buy something. Make your own decision, because when you make your own decision, you're going to be a lot happier with that decision. If you follow somebody else's lead and that lead doesn't work out, you're going to be kicking yourself. So, do your own research, do your own due diligence, and be comfortable with your entry, because it's a decision that you made, not a decision that somebody made for you and you decided to follow that lead. But towards the end of the month, or mid-month, I can see this thing, as long as, the cryptocurrency market is on an uptrend and there isn't FUD, that fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's being spread. $11 is attainable. It really is. It's not that far off from 11. It's only really $2 away from that $11. So it could definitely do it. But I think, close to that range, we are going to have a resistance. We are. So, what I can see happening is, as long as we don't get a downtrend from currently here, as long as it just continuously keeps uptrending, and gets to close to 11, yeah, it might get a little above 11. I don't really expect it to get above 11.55 and then have some sort of pullback. And if that happens, we are going to be seeing a somewhat symmetrical cup and handle formation. So let's go ahead and kind of zoom out of this. Yeah, maybe the 2 hour is better. So as long as this thing keeps uptrending, and not really start testing out these levels here, under 750, and it gets up to that 11, 1125, 1150, and it consolidates or pulls back, that's the handle. But depending on how far it's going to pull back, and the way I always do the math is, just really take the bottom price, take the high price where it's pulling down from, divided by 2, either subtract that from the top or add it from the bottom, and that will give you some sort of an indication of where the pullback might be. And that's usually the 50% Fibonacci retracement. Instead of really plotting out the Fibonacci retracement, you can just really do it in your head. It's not that hard. But yeah, this could end up forming a very symmetrical cup and handle formation, as long as we don't get a huge dip from its current level of $9 right now. KNC. I don't know what KNC is, but maybe towards the end of this live stream, I'll go ahead and take a look at it. Yeah, David, with XRP, as long as it's going to be supported, as long as the South Koreans are going to support it, then, it'll either maintain this level or it'll end up going up. But once that support really ends and they start dumping, then, it's a turn for the worse. Why do I think the banks will not use XRP? I don't know. That's something we got to ask the banks or ask Ripple in general. But if Ripple can force the banks to utilize XRP for their intercontinental transfers, yeah, that'll do wonders. And I've said that in the past. That'll do wonders for it. And then on top of that, if they can, if they decide to burn tokens, that'll do wonders for it too. 100 billion is a lot. That's a lot of tokens that were in circulation and that are going to be in circulation later on. But yeah, banks are not utilizing it. They don't believe in it. So if banks are not utilizing it, that tells you something. It tells you that they don't believe in it. And if banks are not believing in it, then, why would XRP continue to go up? Raw, welcome, buddy. Do your XRP homework first. I think I've spent I wouldn't say a lot of time on researching XRP, but I know what I need to know that I don't really believe in XRP. Now, do I believe in Ripple? Yes, I do. And I think Ripple can do wonders. But XRP token, I don't believe in it at all. That's what people were doing. I mean, they were selling their alts to buy Bitcoin. And that's why we had on Monday, Bitcoin was going up and it went up huge. And then what really happened, alts were just bleeding left and right. I'm going to cover BCH because, yeah, I saw that. And on the previous live stream, I did say, that 280 was a crucial level. And that was a crucial level in the past on Bitfenix when basically it decided to come back down from hitting 380. I mean, I bought at 2, sold at 3, went up to 380. And, I even told, somebody in our Slack chat, I said, that 280 is going to be an entry. That would be a solid entry. Instead of getting in at 380, 280 is pretty solid. And he got in at 280 and ended up making a huge profit off of it. I don't think he sold at the top, but to me, he sold close to the top to take a huge, huge profit. I didn't get in at 280 and I should have. And that was really, what I was looking for. And that 280 was a 50% retracement. All right, let me get to a couple more questions and then we'll cover Ethereum. I'm sorry, we'll cover Bitcoin, and then we'll take a look at Bitcoin Cash as well too. Mistor, yeah, that's really with any cryptocurrency. If BTC goes parabolic, then we're going to see what we saw on Monday. And I don't think it's OMG. That would go down further. I think a lot of alts will go down further as well too. I think we're starting to see what we saw back in January, February. I think maybe March, where BTC goes up, alts go down. BTC goes down, alts go up. That was really the patterns that we were seeing in the past. So sorry, Dubai review. So I didn't know you meant on ETP. Yeah, I mean, a lot of volume is pouring from South Korea. So, there's scammers everywhere, and they will pump and dump something. And that's why it's crucial to lock in profits along the way. Don't hold and wish that it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up. Unless you're holding the top 3, you're very strongly diversified in the top 3. And I don't mean Ripple in the top 3 at all. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, maybe a little bit of Bitcoin Cash. Okay, so Raul, not a problem, man. Not a problem. Yeah, you definitely want to do your research. You definitely want to do your homework. You know, like I said, you don't want to just jump into something that somebody's jumping into. You know, don't follow anybody's lead. Don't. You know, I've done that in the past in the stock market, and you know, when I first started, and I paid the price. You know, it taught me a huge lesson. But yeah, if you continuously keep doing the same exact thing, yes, you know, you could end up making money, but if you hold it too long, you end up losing money. But all right, so let's go ahead and take a look at BTC. BTC. Let's do it. Maybe let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Still uptrending. So let me see if I could actually extend this line. It's probably not going to allow me to. So it's still uptrending, you know, from the trend line that I drew out a while back. You know, and BTC will continue to do well, but it is having a hard time breaking out above that 49.70 or 49.80, depending on what exchange you're looking at. But 49.40, you know, that's close to the high. You know, it's not too far away from that high. So, you know, for BTC to really get up to that high, it's a drop in a bucket. You know, a $200 increase from here, it's nothing. It's really nothing. All we need is somebody to come in and say, you know what, I want to take advantage of Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Gold, and I'm going to buy a shitload of BTC because I'm a big whale and I got the money for it, and that would really send it up higher. But yeah, it's still uptrending. But let's go ahead and zoom in just a little better so we can get this a little granular and take a look at, you know, current recent resistance or support that it's going to have. So, you know, it's going to have some sort of a resistance at this current level. Let me see what that level is. 4,900 bucks. You know, it is going to have a resistance. A couple of times it had a hard time breaking out. And yes, it did break out here. But as soon as it broke out, it pulled right back down. So that 4,900 is going to be a resistance for it. Now, it's not going to be a hard resistance, but it is going to be a soft resistance. If the volume comes in, then this thing could break out completely above that 4,900 bucks. Current resistance, current support is going to be, and I think I had this plotted out from a while back, it's going to be that 4,700 bucks. And she did get close to getting below that 4,700, but she got to 4,710, maintained it, still, you know, somewhat bullish at the current moment, as long as it maintains that. Other areas we're going to be looking at, and let me zoom out of here and see how important these other areas are. All right, so if she does break the 4,700, and that's if, big if, we're looking at anywhere between the 44, let's just say 45, but it's 44.80, right in the 40, between 45 and 43. And that's if she has a major sell off. You know, she could retest that level. And really, you know, like I said before, you know, it's easy for BTC to drop $600-700 and then get right back up and regain that as though it never lost anything. It's very easy to do. And all they need to do is just spread that FUD. And as long as that FUD is being spread, you know, people could panic and sell. You know, especially with Bitcoin Gold, you know, if they already pre-mine, I read it, you know, on Reddit, and I kind of forget everything about it, but you know, if they already pre-mine, you know, 200,000 Bitcoin Gold, yeah, that's not good. That is not good. And I could probably see people, you know, and they already did the snapshot of the blockchain. And if people don't really get their, you know, Bitcoin Gold on the 25th, or the snapshot is not taken on the 25th, then yeah, I can see BTC pulling back a little bit. And if she does pull back, you know, we do know what the areas of supports are going to be, 45, between 45 and 43.75. But let's just say hypothetically, she breaks that level. You know, what is really another key area? Now that 4,000 is going to be a key area of support. I mean, we know that in the sense of it's a psychological level. So you really got to think like traders think. And that 4,000 is going to be a very psychological level. Now, will it get to that 4,000? Probably not, because it does have another area of support that it has to break through. And that area of support is going to be, let's see what that is, about 4120-ish. And 4120-ish is an important level. Let me go ahead and enlarge this. All right, 4120 is an important level because that was a resistance here. I'm sorry, it was, yeah, resistance there. If I can put a circle at that spot. All right, it won't allow me to put a circle there. But that is an area of resistance that it had in the past, and that was going back to about September 19th, September 18th, September 19th. Now, a lot of times, I've talked about areas of resistance, prior resistance becomes current support. And that's basically what she did at this key level here. Too bad I can't put a circle for you guys to be able to see. There we go. So prior resistance here becomes current support. And she's proved that theory that, that is a support line. So if you really were looking at this in the past and saying, okay, you know what, it went up to that 40, what is it? It went up to that 4120 and then it pulled back, and you didn't take advantage of this little pullback here, and it started running up and started running up. That's really the area that I would have been waiting for to take a little bit of a position. Prior resistance becomes current support, and she's proved to us right here that 4120 is basically the support line. So if this thing does, decide to break because of FUD that's being spread, and she actually ends up breaking that 45, ends up breaking the 4380 or 40, what is that, 4370-ish, that's really a key level that she does have to maintain. And if she can't maintain that, 4,000 is going to be a very solid support for it. Wait, so if I was to get into this, I would wait to see if she's going to start breaking key levels. I don't know about buying here because you're buying basically at the all-time high, just about. Even though it's, $150 away from its all-time high, you're basically buying at its all-time high. So I would wait for some sort of retracement, some sort of pullback to happen. Like I said, if there's FUD that's being spread, pure manipulation, then yes, it could retest those levels. All right, let me get to some of the comments, and then we'll do BCH. Darkness, what is up, buddy? Welcome. Pleasure to have you. Swell Conference, Mega Thread. I don't know what that is. So XRP on the 17th or 18th, I'll have to keep an eye on that. Definitely remind me when that time comes up to see what that price action is going to look like. But I have not heard of Swell Conference, but I'll have to Google it and research it. Yeah, I tend to really not research too many things that I'm not involved in, and I'm definitely not involved in XRP. Mister, you're just started trading in June. Well, welcome, man. Welcome. I don't know if you got your feet wet yet and actually bought something, but I wish you nothing but the best. And one advice I would give new traders, and I've talked about, there was a video titled, mistakes that new traders make. So definitely, try to find it if you can, or how to become an efficient trader. There's a video on that I did back in January. Definitely watch that. But one advice I would give you, and this is really to any new trader that are coming onto this market, is be patient. Don't jump into something. Don't feed into the hype. Don't suffer from FOMO that a lot of new traders are, because when they do, that's when it's going to take you out of the game. Learn how to plot out your support and resistance and wait for that trade to come to you. And if it doesn't come to you, it's not the end of the world. This market will be here. It's not going anywhere. You will have other opportunities. But yeah, when you're chasing something, that's when you end up getting caught, because then you're buying it when it's just running up like crazy, especially if it's cracking new time highs. If it's making, 52-week highs, or 2-year highs, whatever it might be, tread with caution, to be honest with you. And as a new trader, you shouldn't be trading everything and anything. Really stick to, maybe the top 5, the top 10. I would really start out with the top 3, to be honest with you, as a new trader, because they are solid. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Stick to those. And as time goes on, you get better at trading, you get better at, reading candlesticks and reading charts and patterns. Then you can kind of venture out to, other cryptocurrencies, maybe, then, work on the top 10. But yeah, I would stay away from things that are just being listed, because there are a lot of pump and dumps that are happening. And you got to remember, when you're trading these, it's all speculation. It's basically on speculation that the price action movement is going up. That's all it is really at the current time, especially if it's new, a new ICO that's being listed on an exchange. So, just take your time with it. Don't go all in. And I think, in the long run, you'll do well. I mean, baby steps. You got to take baby steps. Don't try to swing for that home run because you're going to strike out. I mean, you might hit a home run here and there, but more than likely in the long run, you're just going to end up striking out and losing money, striking out and losing money. Just be consistent. Start locking in those profits. And I mean, it might not be a lot of profit in the beginning, but as you watch that account grow and grow and grow, you're going to be better off than a lot of people that are just chasing and they end up losing basically. But yeah, welcome. Definitely subscribe, become a regular. Yes, we just recently took a look at BTC and plotted out some. Of course, we know what the resistance is going to be, but plotted out some of the support. And that really, the support that I looked at was just down to 4,000. I don't really see it breaking 4,000 anytime soon. I was actually with a buddy of mine yesterday. I had to drop my son off at soccer practice, and I met up with him. And he's probably on this. So Scott M, if you're on, we were talking about BTC and, how I basically told him and a couple of buddies of mine to buy it at 3,000. He didn't buy it at 3,000. He's like, oh, I'll just wait for that correction. And I was like, I think that's the last time we're going to see 3,000, to be honest with you. And if she does have a dip, yes, she will have a dip. And if she cracks 4,000, that's perfectly all right. But I don't think we're going to see that $3,000 anytime soon again. That's kind of my speculation. That's kind of what I was telling him. Let's see. Please consider that a lot. Korea volumes are now coming from China. Interesting. AJ, let's see what you're saying. None of the 4 coins are going to do as well as Bitcoin Cash. Exchanges and wallets will be better prepared to have split coins to customers, allowing for more split coin holders to have access. I mean, the more splits that we're getting from BTC, I think, eventually, all these, splits that are coming from BTC are probably going to end up absorbing majority of the market share. And I think, also that are already bleeding and dying, that don't really have the fundamental and that aren't really in compliance. And we got to look at compliance or really think about compliance. So a lot of these altcoins, that are not really, in compliance with regulations could end up dying off in the long run. Not anytime soon, but in the long run. And as more forks are happening with BTC, they could end up absorbing the majority of the market share. I mean, Bitcoin Cash is the top. Well, I would really list Bitcoin Cash as number 4, not number 5, if we exclude Ripple out of there. I mean, 5 billion market cap, that's huge. Bulat, I can't understand your message, buddy. Google Translate. I'm doing a live stream, bud. I don't have time to Google Translate. I do apologize if you're asking me a very important question. But yeah, dude, translate it in, in English and copy and paste it. David, I'm glad you think that's a good advice because, and I don't know if you're referring to me talking about new traders coming onto this market, but I was there. I've been there, and you guys know how patient I am with my trades. I don't just jump into anything and everything. And I do take profits. I take profits. And I've taken one bad loss. I wouldn't say bad loss, but I sold Ripple at a loss. Bought Ripple at 20,000 Satoshis. Got tired of it not doing anything for an extended period of time. And I sold it at like 18,000 Satoshis. And then that's before it ripped up to like, I think 50,000 Satoshis, 60,000 Satoshis. But that was like, several weeks after I sold. Now, if I had sold the day prior to it running up, I would have probably kicked myself. But no, I wasn't upset about it. Somebody asked me, are you upset about, cashing out of or selling at a loss? And I was like, no. I was like, that happened like weeks ago. I was like, if it would have happened yesterday, then yeah, I would have probably kicked myself. But Find a coin that you don't care if it goes down, right? I wouldn't put money into something you don't care about. So I mean, there's tons of cryptocurrencies out there that I don't care about, but I'm not going to put money into it. So I mean, you definitely want to care about the cryptocurrency, where you're putting your money. I mean, this is your money we're talking about here. So as a new trader, like I said, I mean, stick to those top three. Honestly, just stick to those top three, because if they do crash, they're going to come right back up. And we've seen Bitcoin crash. We've seen it crash. $900. But really, that's nothing. That's a drop in a bucket for BTC. It's going to make it right back up as long as you don't panic and sell. That's a big thing. So with BTC, LTC, and Ethereum, if they do go down, you shouldn't sweat it at all, because it is going to make it back up. I mean, those are the three dominating cryptocurrencies, and they will still continue to dominate. They are not going to be dethroned from what should be number one, number two, and number three. Mister, not a problem, man. Not a problem at all. I'm glad you joined. Yeah, I usually give a lot of little tips and tricks here and there. Sometimes I kind of go off on a tangent about it, but how do you Bitcoins? I don't know what that means, buddy. I'm trying to understand the question. How do you Bitcoin? Like, how do I buy Bitcoin? Or yeah, I think you're missing something in that question. How do you trade Bitcoin? How do you buy Bitcoin? How do you sell Bitcoin? Write the numbers. Yeah, I'm sorry, bud. I wish I could understand the question to be able to answer it properly for you. And I don't want to BS you, with an answer if I don't personally understand the question. Mister, thanks for that advice for Bulat. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I don't understand the question. And if I understand the question, I will definitely answer it for you, bud. Definitely. Vesna, welcome. What do I think about what I think will happen now with BTC so high? Altcoins rising accordingly. Ether is around $300 at the moment. Ripple at 26 cents. I mean, if we see the same type of trend that we've seen in the past, where BTC goes up, alts go down, alts go up, or BTC goes down, alts go up. That's kind of what we're seeing this week. On Monday, we saw BTC rip up to close to all-time high as alts were bleeding. And that's what we've seen in the past before. That was really the trend that we were used to. And then it completely changed where, like top five were going up as others were going down. So, are we going back to that same trend where BTC goes up, alts go down, and BTC goes down, alts go up? It's a possibility. It's a possibility. And as long as this kind of trend continues, then that's a trend that they're going to be in. Yes, Mr. I completely agree. And if you believe in the coin, and definitely do your research, please do your research. But I mean, there's tons of coins out there, so you might believe in it. I mean, it could be like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a coin. Civic. I'll use Civic as an example. Not that Civic is bad. So if anybody's owning Civic, I'm not trying to say anything bad about it. But, let's just say you believe in Civic, and a lot of people do, but the price action is not reflecting what the underlying, what Civic should be really doing. So is that something you should be holding and holding and holding and holding as it's just bleeding and bleeding and bleeding? Probably not, to be honest with you. So would that be a long-term hold? I don't think so. But OMG, yes, definitely. BTC, yes. Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Monero, Zcash, those would be long-term holds. So you're asking, is now the time to buy BTC? Okay. I can't tell you, remember, I'm not a licensed financial advisor, so I really can't tell you, whether you should be buying or not. But, personally, if I was to ask myself that question, I would say no, now is not the right time to buy. I mean, yeah, even though it's pulled back from its all-time high, let's just say that 49.40 was its all-time high. It basically was. It's close to it. It was like $50 away, less than $50 away from it. You're still buying close to the high. You really are. So, could we have more of a pullback? Yeah, definitely. But, if you do decide to get into this trade or buy BTC, don't go all in. Don't spend all your money going all in because you want to lower your cost average. And that's one thing I did forget to mention. If you do go buy something, don't go all in because you want to have capital available if it does go down to buy more to lower that cost average. Now, that's not going to work with every cryptocurrency that's out there. But with the top 5, the top 10, if it does go down, you want to be able to lower that cost average so you have a lower cost average. So if you buy it, let's just say hypothetically at $10, and it drops to 8, let's just say you buy one at $10 and then it drops to 8, buy another one so that your cost average is actually $9 now instead of still being $10. Peter, welcome. How high will BTC be before the fork? Dude, that's anybody's guess. I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. And if I told you it's going to get up to 6,500, you should run. You should run. No one knows, to be honest with you. No one knows how high it's going to go. All you can really do is play the probabilities, and trading is all about probabilities. That's really what it is. What are the probabilities of that support and resistance holding up? And let's just say hypothetically, BTC gets up to 5,000. It doesn't have the resistance, because that's an all-time high. So at any point, it could really start to turn around and consolidate, or not consolidate, but turn around and correct and give back a lot of its gains easily. All right, a couple more questions and then BCH, because I do like BCH, but we'll take a look at BCH. Let's see. You heard a lot of traders calling for a further pullback on F. Okay, just be careful of that. FUD will be spread. Think about you always want to think outside the box when you read something or hear something. So if I was to have read that, or if I was to have heard that, the first thing that would have clicked in my head is, okay, what is their motive for making that statement? Do they have a short position in this and they want the price to drop so they can capitalize off of that drop? Because you can short it and make money as well too, which I don't recommend anybody to short, especially if you're new to this game. Do not short. You're going to lose more than you actually put in. But yeah, what is their motive for making that statement? That's really what I would be asking myself. And that wouldn't cause me to panic and sell F, because F is not going to go anywhere. It is the foundation for, for ICOs. It really is. So it's not going anywhere at all. So I wouldn't panic and sell because of that. And yes, I have traded F. I've traded F many times. I mean, at one point I had, I don't know, 430 F at a whopping low ball price of under 28 bucks. I think it was like 27 bucks that I bought it. I had a shitload of it. But of course, I took profits on the way up. But yeah, just ask yourself, why are they making that statement? What is their motive? Because everybody has a motive for making some sort of statement. They really do. I'm going to be honest with you. If somebody's telling you to buy something, think about what their motive is. More than likely, if they bought a lot in the past and they want the price to go up, there's so much manipulation that happens. This is the Wild Wild West. And every day there is manipulation. Just really, I always think about the psychology of trading, and that really has to be in the back of your mind. Bulat, USA. Yes, that's where I live. Talk me. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. I don't understand your questions. I want to answer your questions, but if I don't understand them, I can't answer them. Your brother bought thousands of euros worth at $12. Euros as in the sense of the currency, or euros as in the sense of the cryptocurrency? I think there is a cryptocurrency. Euros. I think it's euros instead of euros. But all right, BCH. And I'm trying to think, where's a good platform for me to look at BCH? Because I don't think CryptoWatch is pretty good for it. But let's see. So, when I really started following the BCH was, and of course it was higher on Bitfenix. It was a lot higher, when it first opened up. I think it got up to like the 600 bucks. But considering they listed it on CryptoWatch a little later, it just kind of shows the previous high when it started. Well, the opening price was right around the 430 bucks. And really, we were all watching this drop. People just really getting their coins and locking in those profits and putting it into BTC, whatever it might have been. You know, I hope nobody bought it, you know, at that top, $600 or, you know, $400 or $500, because it really did pull back and got to $190. I bought it at $200 before it got to 190. And, you know, my goal at that time was 50%. I was ecstatic. I was happy, you know, with the 50% profit in it. And I sold at $300 and it got up to 383. And I was like, man, I shortchanged myself. You know, I should have waited a little bit. But, you know, I was happy with it. It was a 50% profit. Now, you know, what I was seeing at that time, and we're kind of going back, and you can probably watch the videos. I forget what video it was that I really covered BCH. Now, what I was really waiting for was, you know, the retracement to happen. And if the retracement was going to hold, then, you know, we would have a very symmetrical cup and handle formation. And this is a very symmetrical cup and handle. And, you know, you always want to be looking out for these type of patterns, because these type of patterns do pay off. They really do. The probabilities of them going up from certain patterns is very probable, you know, 85 to 90% that they're going to do exactly what they're intended to do. And that is, you know, form these formations, very symmetrical formations, whether it's a, you know, a head and shoulder downturn or an inverted head and shoulder or this cup and handle. And this was a perfect cup and handle formation here. You know, so when I sold at $300 and I saw this thing start to downtrend, I was like, all right, you know, what is the possibility of it coming down? Where is it going to come down to? And that's when I told, you know, somebody to buy it at 280, and it got to 260. I think 260, 265 was what it really got down to before attempting to have a nice breakout. But for some reason, it didn't break out. So if you really look at this on a larger time frame, you know, you're going to see you know, you're not going to see really this little rise up here. You're going to see a more of a nice handle forming. And as long as, you know, where it started to downtrend, you know, the candlesticks didn't go up above this high on this candlestick, which was $387, it's still a handle. Yes, it can come up close to it and break down from it. It's still a handle from that cup and handle formation. Now, let's just say hypothetically, you know, when it dropped to 265 and it got up to 322, or I'm sorry, 351, if this would have gotten right up to 383, 390, then, you know, it's not a handle anymore, because it broke out above this prior high here of 387.20. So this is still part of the handle. And that's basically where from here on it exploded. So I was waiting for, you know, 250, 240. That's really what I was waiting for. But I knew that 280 was going to be a good level based on the Fibonacci retracement and other variables as well too. So, I mean, they had a great entry. You know, the one guy had a great entry at 280, and I think ended up selling like $800. So that's a huge profit there. But current price action though, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So that 280, I did mention on the last live stream, was a crucial level. And that's because, let's go ahead and put our line there. And that's because, you know, where it's been in the past. And usually, you know, if you can look at the past, and you can look at the pattern and dissect the pattern, you can kind of figure out, you know, if there is a correction, where that correction is going to come down to, because they have support, they have a resistance. Now, the probabilities of them maintaining that support line, you know, it's not 100%. It's not guaranteed. You always got to remember that. It's not guaranteed. It could have easily crashed through it and retested that 265 easily. But it held up because that happened to be a nice support line for it, because continuously, let's go ahead and zoom into that, it consolidated in that 280 range. So that tells you that that is a very strong support. Now, when we're going further, you know, after it really went up to $972, which is a huge run up, and it decided to come back down, and you were patient with this thing, where did it come down to? Let's go ahead and put our line here. It came down to just a little above that 280. Let's see, $300. That's what it came down to. So that $300 at 280, strong support, very strong support. And she has proven to us here. She crashed to it, got right back up, and really went up to $350 from 280. You know, a $70 increase. So if you bought 10, you just made $700, you know, within 12 hours and a half a day. And I've talked about, you know, depending on what time frame you're looking at, that they do like to utilize, or let's get out of here. Oh, I lost my chart. All right, let me get back to it. But they do like to use the moving averages as a mean of support or resistance. So if we're looking at this, our moving average, I think I have this set for the 5 and 10. 5, 10, 50, 100, and 200. So it really got right up to that 200. I'm sorry, the 10-day moving average. It touched it, bounced right from it. So really, I mean, in the long run, this is still bearish, to be honest with you. Depending on what the overall market is going to be doing, depending on, if people are going to be selling their favorite alt, getting into BTC to take advantage of Bitcoin Gold, this could downtrend. It's not that far away from its all-time high. It's low where that major support is at 380. I'm sorry, 280. It's not that far away from it, and it could easily get to that level. Now, if it gets to that level and it doesn't bounce up, we know that it's going to break through that resistance. I'm sorry, break through that support. So let's just say hypothetically, excuse me, it breaks through that support of 280. What is this? 263, 265. 265 should have a good support because that's really the low that we've seen ever since August 13th. So ever since August 13th, it has not cracked below that level. Now, anything could happen in this wild, wild west of a cryptocurrency market. It could easily start crashing through these support lines, easily. So that's why I say, if you're interested in buying this, never go all in because you're asking for it, because it could easily break through those levels, and more likely a lot of newbies will suffer, from that panic, and they will sell because they will see that their capital is actually dwindling. They will. So to buy a little bit here at that 280 level and to see how she reacts to it, would probably be the best strategy to take. And really the best strategy on any type of trades that you're taking is find out where that hard support is and get a little bit of an entry. Because if it does get to your entry price of 280 and it decides to basically, go up from there, at least you got an entry in. But if you go all in and it crashes through that and it crashes through the 265, more than likely you're going to panic and you're going to sell, and you're going to sell at a loss. And a lot of times when newbies sell, they sell when that is the bottom price. And I've seen it happen many times. It's happened to me many times where I get fed up with it and not moving, and I end up selling at the bottom price, and then it decides to go back up. But this will happen to every trader. And it's happened to me before in the past where I get into a trade and it goes down. I get out of a trade and it goes up. So, Mr. Yeah, you're still on here. So, one of the best strategies to take is, get your feet wet, get a little bit of an entry and see how it handles that support line. If it breaks through that support line, you have a little bit more of a capital to add to it, and you can add to it and lower that cost average. And if it breaks through that support line, then you have more to add to it. So let's just say hypothetically, it crashes through that 265. What is the next area of support for it? So really, we got to get a little granular on this to see where that support might be. But that 265 is going to be a very strong support, as long as the overall market is not doing too bad. So let's see, maybe 1 hour chart. But yeah, but in the sense of getting your feet wet, getting in at certain key support levels, the way to get out to is to scale in. So you're scaling into a trade, and then the way to get out is to scale out of a trade. And you scale out of a trade based on key levels of resistance. And you don't sell everything, you sell a little bit. Because like I told you, just a couple minutes ago, where when you sell everything, it decides to go up higher. And when you buy, when you put all your money in at one specific price to buy, it ends up crashing below it. It's going to happen to every single trader. And if it hasn't happened to you yet, it will happen. But I've seen it happen to too many people. But yeah, let's see if I can get CryptoWatch to cooperate with me. I got to get rid of all this. But I got to be able to get a little granular, and I can't go back to when it hit that price point of 280. So Looks like I got to look at a larger time frame, unfortunately. But one thing I'm trying to do is try to figure out, the battle that happened between the bears and the bulls in this range here. So, I mean, I think we got it a little bit. So that 265, let's just say, is going to be an area of support, 265 and 280. And I can't even put out, there we go. That's going to be your support area. But let's just say hypothetically, it crashes through those levels there. Now, unfortunately, I'm not able to see in very detail, like I said, the battle between the bears and the bulls for price action. Who's going to control that price action? But if I was to kind of speculate on where she could actually come down to, because usually prior resistance becomes current support, is going to be that 250. That 250 range, between 240 and 250 is really the second area. Now, I would probably support this thing, but, I'm going to wait to buy it if it gets to that $200 level. Now, it's probably never going to get there, and that's always a magic word, probably. But if it gets there, that's where I would like to take advantage of it, and I would like to buy it. That's where I bought it before. That's where I feel comfortable buying it again, because I'm buying near that low, and my risk reward ratio, or my reward versus my risk, is a lot higher. So the risk is very minimal versus the reward. Whereas if I buy it, at $500, or if I bought it at $900, yeah, the risk is a lot higher versus the reward. So 250 to 240 is going to be another area or another level that you will be looking at, or anybody that's really looking to trade this. And 240 really puts us right at the closing price of this candlestick here, which should be prior resistance becoming current support. So really, those are the levels you're looking at to see if it crashes through those levels. And as long as it keeps crashing through those levels, you have other areas of support. But now you have to look at other variables as well too. And I've talked about, it's just not supporting. I mean, this is just one little part of it. It's only a fraction of what you should be looking at. But you should also be analyzing the order book. You should be analyzing any type of news that's coming out. And putting all those things together to say, what, that is a very strong support, especially with the order book. You want to be very careful because there are manipulations that happen in the order book, and as long as you can spot those type of manipulations, that more than likely, it could crash further, especially if you see order being put on at 250 to support it, and then all of a sudden it gets taken away. More than likely, that's not a very strong support, and there are fake outs that happen. If somebody's putting in a very large buy order, let's just say at $250, I would be very careful to thinking that is a very strong support, because if I had a shitload of Bitcoin Cash to sell, I would not be putting it in the order book. I would hide it so that nobody else sees it, because more than likely, if I'm buying, at 250 and I'm buying a shitload of those coins at 250, I want the price to get there. But if I show my hands, it's like poker. If you show your hands, more than likely, people are going to get in before you because they know that you are there to support that price at that 250. So I would hide my order. So think outside the box as to why somebody is showing their hands either on the buy side or the sell side. So if there's a big buy order, at 250 on the buy side, and they're an experienced trader, they're basically trying to fool you to buying it so that the price goes up because they want to get out. They already have a position in this, and they want to get out, but they don't want the price to crash. So they'll put a fake wall to support it, to fake people out thinking that is a very strong support line. And vice versa too. If somebody is selling, I wouldn't put that in the order book. I would hide it because I don't want people to sell before my order is executed. So, if I was selling a shitload of coins, I would hide that order because I want the price to get to that level so I can get out of that trade. So if somebody puts in the order book a very large sell order, they're basically trying to manipulate the price because they want that price to go down. They want people to start selling and panic because somebody's putting in a big wall to sell. I'm just making up a number at, $500. So anybody that has a position and they see that and they don't really understand the psychology behind the trading and the manipulation that goes on, they're going to think, whoa, this person's putting up a big wall at this very specific price to sell. I'm going to go ahead and get out. And they're going to start selling, and they're going to start selling, which is going to drive the price down, and it's going to drive the price down. And it's a domino effect with a lot of new traders following that same pattern. The person that put up the big sell wall is looking to get in, and they want the price to drop. So they just got you to do exactly what they wanted you to do. They want you to sell, cause the price to drop so that they could buy in at a very specific price. So, be very careful when you're reading that order book. And a lot of times, if it comes off and goes on, comes off and goes on, that's a fake wall that's being put up. But, we'll have to see exactly throughout the whole day on this price action, on how it's going to handle it. But it's definitely retraced, and it has retraced heavily. And I mean, this is not a good retracement, to be honest with you. Yes, it's taken an extended period of time for it to downtrend, especially from August 20th, the high that it hit. But yeah, it's getting close. It's getting close to, possibly that 250. As long as, people, there's that uncertainty and there's that fear and there's that doubt, it could hit that 250. Now, don't sell if you have this position, because that's what I'm saying, because I could be completely wrong. But, we could see more of a downtrend in the overall market. Oh, man, it's 11:36. I wasn't even keeping track of the time. But yeah, let me answer a couple questions, and then I'll probably be ending the live stream. So he bought ETH at $12. Dude, that's awesome. I first bought ETH at like $16.70. I saw it at $7, didn't buy it. No, actually, I saw it at $6. I didn't buy it. It went up, and because I was waiting for $5. Then it went up to $7. I didn't buy it because I was waiting for it to retrace to $6. Then it went up to $8. I didn't buy it because I was waiting for it to retrace to $7. Finally, I bought it at $16. And I was like, man, this is not retracing to the level that I wanted to retrace to. No worries, dude. No worries. Rocky Mountain, I don't know if you're still on, but yeah, thanks for hopping on, buddy. I appreciate it, as always. So David, you were in Salt. I haven't really followed Salt. All in, all out. So hopefully you got. I mean, to go all in is a little dangerous, but hopefully you got out with a profit and not a loss. Yeah, I don't know what Salt is, so I really can't comment on that. That's not good question. Do I have my support for currencies that I am investing in written down to know where to pull out? I mean, you could write them down. I don't write them down. So if I'm actively trading, I mean, when I'm live streaming, it's hard to actively trade because you really got to focus. So I have a 4-monitor system, and on each monitor, I have basically 2 charts up, and I already have, how much I'm buying, at what price I'm buying on each of the website. So, I'll have 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'll have 8 charts up, and on those 8 charts, I already have, what price I'm buying. It's not in the book as submitted, but it's ready to be submitted. So I'm looking at 8 different cryptocurrencies, and I'm already like, all right, I'm going to buy, 100 OMG at, I'm just making up these numbers, at $8. I already have that put in. And then if I'm buying BTC, I can say, I'm going to buy 1 BTC at 4,000. I already have that ready to hit submit. So as I'm analyzing some of these cryptocurrencies and the price action is looking good and they're starting to make moves or they're starting to break down, I can hit submit real quick. And I don't have to sit there and figure out, okay, how many can I buy or how many should I buy at this very specific price? Because by then it's going to be too late. You want to be ready to execute that trade. But yeah, I don't physically have them written down on a piece of paper. But I am looking at the charts. I am looking at the candlesticks, and I do have, my support and resistance plotted out. And I always look at the 30-minute chart. And I also have my my moving averages, 5, 10, 50, 100, 200 day moving averages. But yeah, I don't physically have it written down on a piece of paper, but I already have it ready to ready to basically initiate the trade. So let's just say hypothetically on this, what am I looking at here? BTE. Yeah, we won't look at that. But let's just say ETP. And I was interested in buying ETP at $2. You know, I would put my order in and say, okay, or not put it in as in submit, but have it ready to hit submit. So, you know, this is exactly what, you know, everything will look like. So I'll have 8 of these up with different cryptocurrencies. I already have the, you know, the price that I want to buy it at. I already have the amount that I want to buy it at, and it's sitting there. And I'm basically watching every price action on every cryptocurrency. And, you know, if this gets to my level before other ones get to my level, then I'm going to hit submit and buy this. But I already know, I already have my supports plotted out. And if I think it's going to break that support, then I'm going to change, you know, so then if I see it kind of breaking the support, you know, I might change that to $1.50. Huh, that's good to know. On Bittrex, there's a, you know, I don't use Bittrex too much, but I'm gonna have to play around with that and take a look at it. Bears versus Bulls, Elder Ray. Yeah, let me write that down. Yeah, depending on what happens with Bitfenix and, you know, them barring U.S. citizens from using their platform. I don't know if they're going to bar U.S. citizens now, considering China's completely, possibly out of the game. But if they are going to bar U.S. citizens, then, you know, really Bittrex is what I'm going to have to kind of rely on, unfortunately. Definitely not Poloniex, though. Stay away from Poloniex. So Elder Ray. All right, I'll definitely have to play around with that, and then hopefully I can cover that a little bit on the live stream. Our cup and handle. Now remember that, you know, it's not 100% with cup and handles, but the probabilities are there. AJ, so let's see, 4,000 support for BTC. Now, remember, you know, there's different areas of support. So there's, you know, you have your first area of support, second area of support, third area of support, fourth area of support, and so on and so on and so on. Now, reason why for drawing those out is you want to see if it's breaking those key areas of support. If it's not maintaining any of those supports, you know that it's just going to keep crashing and crashing, especially if they are those key areas of support. So short term, yes, it is bearish. Long term, definitely not for BTC. Long term, I'm bullish. But, you know, when you're looking at the short term price action, the short term price movement, yes, to an extent, it is bearish, short term bearish. I wouldn't even say midterm, you know, short term, basically. All right, so this is a 30-minute chart, and yeah, so far. Now, when you're determining the handle, I mean, you can do your Fibonacci and see, you know, where traders are possibly going to be if this thing will cooperate with me. And this is just on the 30-minute price chart, price action movement. And this isn't set in stone, guys, you know, but traders do like to support it at 38.20, 38.20, you know, percent retracement. I'd like to wait for it because I'm usually patient with my trades. I like to see if she breaks the 50% retracement, and I like to buy at the 61% retracement. You know, my risk reward, or my reward risk, is very high if I buy it at the 61.8 retracement. But if I buy it at 38.2 retracement, yeah, I'm a little risky, and my reward is not that high. So, you know, you always want to look at, you know, your risk reward. Okay, you know what? If it does drop to this level, this is possibly my profit because that is a resistance up there. You know, but if you buy it above the 38.2, you know, your reward is not much in comparison to the downtrend, and that's your risk. So if you buy it at 38.2, you know, you have a huge risk here because there is a possibility that it could test that level. Now, I don't know why ARK is up. I don't know if there's any fundamental news behind it, and fundamental news does trump technical analysis. But yeah, I don't know why it moved up. as of the 10th. I mean, this is a huge significant gains from 43, let's just say 43,000 Satoshis all the way to almost 63,000. So, I mean, that's a huge 50% gainer there. I would be more comfortable, on the handle part, waiting to see if it breaks that 50% retracement. And if it does, yeah, a 61% retracement should be your entry. Now, if I was to really look at this without the Fibonacci retracement and I was to really plot out my support and resistance, where would I plot them out at? Prior support becomes, or really this is a support line here. Prior resistance becomes current support, is proven to us here. There's a possibility that 38.2 could be, oops, I didn't mean to draw that line out there. So 31.8 could be the support line. This thing's not cooperating with me. All right, here we go. Let's see. Second area of support. So that's going to be really, first area of support. So right now she is really touching, that previous peak there, but I can see that crashing. And if it does crash, then she has to maintain 57.30. If she can't maintain 57.30, which I don't think she will, then 38.2 is really where the major support, well, not major support, first area of real support should be. But second area of support is going to be right around the 50% retracement. That's a lot that happened within the price action between the battle of the bears and the bulls. And as we can see, prior resistance has become current support for an extended period of time here. But if she crashes that 50% retracement, I would be happy to buy it at the 61.8% retracement. So anywhere between 61.8 to possibly, it might look like about 59% retracement. But yeah, under 50% retracement, your risk reward is a lot better. All right, a couple more comments, and then unfortunately, I got to end this live stream. Roll, not a problem, man. Thank you for joining, if you're still on here. David Carroll, you broke even. That was on Salt. So you lucked out, bud. You lucked out. Because really, I have not analyzed Salt, so I don't know the price action. I don't know what you got in at. I don't know how far it dipped. But, the safest way to play it would have been to just kind of get your feet wet, get a little bit of an entry, and see what it does. And if it bounces up from there, that's great. You have a little bit of an entry. You're not being greedy. If it breaks through that, you can add a little bit more. If it breaks through that, you can add a little more. If it breaks again, you can add a little bit more so that when it does come back up, you're actually going to be in the profit instead of breaking even. So if I buy something at $10 and it drops to 5, so let's just say I buy, 10 at $5, 10 coins at $10, spend $100 and it decided to crash and it crashed to like $5. I'm down 50%, right? But I'm going to buy, personally, what I would do is I would buy the same amount. So I'm going to buy 10 more at $5. So now I just really lowered my cost average to $7.50. So if I didn't add anything at $5, I would still be stuck with a cost average of $10. So let's say, it breaks below 5. I don't have any money to add on to it. It gets to 4 and then eventually starts to level out and starts to come back up and it gets to $9 before correcting again, going down. I'm actually in the profit when it hits above $7.50. And I could actually sell above $7.50 and make a little bit of a profit. But if I didn't add anything at $5 and I just still stuck to that $10 because I went all in and it hits $9 and bounces back, I'm still at a loss. It hasn't gotten back to that $10 for my break-even price. So, scaling in is the best thing to do, and then scaling out as well too. But yeah, you're lucky for breaking even, man. I don't know what the price action is looking like now, but I don't know if it's downtrending or if it's maintaining those same healthy levels. Vesna, can I explain how to make support lines? That's basically what I've been talking about on this live stream. So, any cryptocurrency that I have covered today, I went ahead and plotted out, where the support is. So to figure out where the support is, you want to find out where majority of the fighting has happened between the bears and the bulls for price action movement. And as long as you can see that, you know what, it had a hard time breaking before this key level, below this key level, you would know that that's a strong support line because it didn't break below that level. And vice versa too. Let's say it had a hard time breaking out above a key level, then you know that's going to be your resistance. So it's really key levels where it had a hard time breaking down from, and then also a hard time breaking out above are going to be your support and resistance. But yeah, Vesna, you know, come back on the next live stream, and I'll do a better job of explaining it to you. BTC can go down to 4,000. I mean, for BTC to go down $800-900 is nothing. It's a drop in a bucket. We got to remember that. Also, for BTC to go up $900 to 1,000 is a drop in a bucket. It's easy for BTC to do that because it's the volatility is crazy on it. I mean, we've seen it drop from 5,000 to under 3,000. Seen it drop from 3,000 to $1,900. Fong Dang, welcome, buddy. Welcome. Yes, Matthew, you're absolutely right, man. Don't go all in. Don't go all in. Now, I've done it in the past. I've done it. I break my own rules. I've broken my rules many, many, many times. We're only humans. We're not machine. We're not programmed to get in at a very specific level and to get out at a very specific level. I've broken my rules. But you just have to try to maintain them as best as you can. Matthew, I'm glad you you found that helpful. You bring a smile to my face, to be honest with you. Just what you said, that it was the best advice, that I've given. Keep some fiat on the side for those further drops. And that was the biggest thing I taught you. Dude, that's awesome, man. Thumbs up, virtual high five. Appreciate it. But yeah, always have USD, always have fiat available because, like I said, no one can predict the market. None of us can, to be honest with you. Unless you're a group of whales that can control the market, then you know how far you can drop it and you know how far you can raise it. But yeah, us little fish, we don't. We can only really plot out that support and resistance and see if it holds. And if it doesn't hold, which majority of the time they don't hold, they can break through it. You have capital to add more and just lower that cost average and keep lowering that cost average, especially on a solid coin. I'm not talking about shit coins, guys, lowering your cost average. If you're stuck in a shit coin, don't keep pouring money into a bleeding cryptocurrency. That's a wrong decision to make. But a solid coin, in the top 10, yeah, averaging down is probably one of the best things to do. Yes, and that's exactly what I said. Never add to a losing trade in the sense of crap coins. Crap coins will continue to bleed. But yeah, top 10, top 5, I would average down any time of the day. I don't know if you have to be advanced to do that. I mean, it's simple math. And, as long as it's, a solid, and I'll keep repeating that, as long as it's a solid cryptocurrency, there's tons of shit coins. There's tons of pump and dumps out there. And Bittrex is known for, not Bittrex on itself, as a company running pumps and dumps, but there are groups that operate out of Bittrex. They utilize Bittrex to pump certain coins and then dump them. In that situation, yeah, don't average down. Do not average down because more than likely, yeah, it's pumped up for a reason and it's being dumped for a reason. And more than likely, it's going to stay at those levels for an extended period of time. Yeah, it was Monday that I saw it, alts were bleeding. And that was just a great opportunity to find your favorite, solid cryptocurrency that's been taking a hit and to add to that position. BTC making another run for $4,900. Where's my BTC? So let's see, before in my example, I thought 10 was the bottom. Now the price dropped 50%. Now you're adding at 5. And if price keeps dropping, then you're adding even more to your loss. So yes, You are, but on a crap coin, that's the wrong thing to do. You don't want to do that at all. But let's just say, and I've done it before on a good amount of cryptocurrencies. Let's just say Litecoin in general, and I've done that on Litecoin. I bought at $47. It got to 43. I added more. It got to 40. I added more, and then it went up. My cost average was lower to $42.50. I ended up selling at like $47. But yeah, on a crap coin, you can't at all. But when you're adding on to AJ, you're not adding on at, let me actually look at Bitfenix real quick see if this is making a run up to $4,900. And this is the last thing I'm going to cover, AJ, before I do have to get off this live stream. But yeah, 48, 44, that's pretty good. But yeah, so that 40, what is this? That 4,700 is holding up right now as a support. So, adding on or basically averaging down, that's what it's called, scaling in, averaging down. You're not just adding at any price point. You're plotting out your support and your resistance. So, when you have your resistance plotted out, at what key levels you should be adding. You're not just adding, let's just say, it dropped, you buy it at 10 and you see, that there isn't any support at all or major support until $5. And people are stacked up on the order book to get out of that trade. You're not going to add at $7.50. You're not going to add at $8. You shouldn't. You're going to add on where those, major supports are. And by plotting out your support and resistance, you're going to have an idea where that support is. So yes, you're still adding to a losing trade, but you're lowering that cost average. And I only recommend doing that on a very solid cryptocurrency. Not on a crap coin, Ponzi coin or strong hand coin or EBTC. You would not average down on those coins. You can either hold it and hope and wish that it goes up, or you would cut your loss. But yeah, you'd have to make that decision. But yeah, so to lower your cost average, you have to add, to your original losing position. Now you can hold it and not add anything to it, but if it does decide to make a move up to the upside and it doesn't make it to your first entry price, then you're still out of loss. Yes, you've minimized your loss because the price has come up, but you're not going to really be in the profit because you didn't add on at key levels to lower that cost average. How much of my overall investments do I invest in a single coin at a single time? Now, as a new trader, I would highly recommend you diversify. Maybe pick the top 3 cryptocurrencies and allocate your money accordingly, to those 3. But with me, I'm a trader, so I'm not an investor. Now, I am starting to invest, and that's probably something I'll cover later on. Now is not really the time for it. But as a trader, really, it doesn't matter how much I'm putting into a single coin, as long as it's a solid coin and I see that the price action movement is going to go up and I'm going to exit out with a profit. I'll put 50%, 60%, 70%, and I have gone all in, and it's paid off very nicely. But yeah, only do that on a solid coin. You guys know that I only trade, a handful of coins. I don't just trade anything that's going up. I don't even touch them. I try not to even look at them so I don't suffer from that FOMO. But yeah, so as a new trader or as a new investor, and that's what I would recommend anybody new coming onto this market, become an investor. Don't become a trader. Maybe pick, 4 coins, the top coins, and, let's just say you have $1,000, put $250 in each coin. And as the price goes up and, let's just say price goes up on one coin, then you probably want to sell a little bit to allocate that money and spread it out evenly. So you want to have an even balanced kind of a portfolio. Now, it is a lot of management, because you really have to manage those 4, but it's easier to manage 4 instead of managing 15 or 20 or whatever it might be. But yeah, you just want to make sure that you're properly balanced so that if something decides to take off and go up like crazy, that majority of your holding, is not in that cryptocurrency. So you want to sell a little bit and then kind of spread that money out to the other 3 cryptocurrencies that you do have. Yeah, AJ, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. You got to admit it when you're wrong, and you have to know when you're wrong. You're absolutely right about that. And yeah, if you're wrong, yeah, it might just say, all right, you know what? I'm not going to add to this, or I'm going to wait for a nice little uptick, minimize my loss a little bit, and then I'm going to get out of this trade, especially on a crap coin. But yeah, you do have to have, you'd have to be advanced a little bit, to be honest with you. And I've been trading for over 12 years, where I do play heavily those support and resistance. It is dangerous. Yeah. I mean, it's AJ, trading in general is dangerous. It is. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And I've said this before, a long time ago. I was like, if trading was easy, everybody and their mother with an internet connection would be trading. But there's a reason why there's only 10% of the traders are profitable. The other 90% lose money. They do. In the stock market, definitely. In the cryptocurrency, it's a little different because, at one point you could basically, put a list of all the cryptocurrencies up on the wall and throw a dart at it, and whatever lands on, put some money into it, and it'll go up. I mean, that was the craziest thing we've seen. But now the tides are changing a little bit, where you do have to have a little bit of a knowledge and a little bit of understanding, and stay away from a lot of these coins that are just being pumped and dumped. But yeah, trading is dangerous. It is a dangerous game, and only 10% of the traders out there make money. AJ, not at all, buddy. No. I don't think it's confrontational at all. And I'm glad you're asking those questions, but seriously, I am. No, definitely not confrontational. No, and I want you guys to disagree with me. That's the only way that, we're going to have a very healthy conversation. Definitely. I mean, and I'm not, by all means, I'm never correct. I mean, I've been correct on a lot of the trades that I've taken, and I've taken a profit. I think, so I took a loss on Steam. What else did I take a loss on? I took a loss. I shorted Ethereum, and then I covered right away with a loss of like $30. What other losses did I take? Actually, I think those are the only two losses that I took. Everything else, I could have had a loss on Litecoin. I could have had a loss. But I decided to, the best thing for me to do was to start averaging down. So I started buying, 25 increments of 25 at key levels, and it made it right back up, and I ended up making money. So, I mean, if it's those key levels, that I'm buying at, and I'm happy with it, and you're just patient with it, you got to have patience. It is going to go up. Now, that's not with every cryptocurrency. That's only with, like the top 10, I would say. If you're trading, a coin that's like, 150 on the coin market cap, yeah, averaging down is it's a wrong thing to do. But on the top 10 cryptocurrencies, aside from Ripple, of course, that might be the best course of action to take if you're experienced with it. AJ, let's see how I can say this. There's a couple times where I almost sold at a loss, and to have that patience. It wasn't me staring at the computer screen, because I would have panicked and sold. I walked away from my computer. Seriously, I walked away from it. And because I was ready to sell, and I was like, let me just walk away from this. I mean, like, this is Litecoin. Like, why would I be selling Litecoin at a loss? It's a very stable cryptocurrency. There's a reason why, it's where it's at. So instead of me panicking and selling, I walked away, took a nice little break, came back, composed myself. And same thing with, something that's going parabolic, because we all will suffer from that FOMO. We'll all will break our rule. Anything that goes up parabolic so fast, so high, it is going to retrace. It is going to come back down. And if you're interested in buying it, wait for that retracement. But I've seen tons of things go parabolic, and instead of me suffering from that FOMO, walked away from my computer. Came back 15 minutes later, it was retracing back. So, I could have easily suffered from that FOMO and bought it. But, so when I say patient, having that patience, there's got to come a time when you got to walk away from that computer, so you don't end up panic selling or FOMO buying. And, new traders are not going to learn this. New traders that are coming onto this market, it's going to take a while, to have that patience and to allow that trade to come to you. I always say, let it come to you. As long as you've done your due diligence and, you've plotted out where your support and resistance are, and you have an idea, probabilities, just an idea of where it might retrace to. Those are the levels that you're waiting for, and not just buying it as it's going up. This market is not going to go anywhere. So if you miss something, there's going to be something else. But if you suffer from that FOMO and you just don't have the patience, and that's why 90% of the traders are not profitable, is because they don't have that patience. But it takes time, AJ. It really does. And you just have to be consistent. And the more consistent you are, the better you're going to be in the long run. So you're not swinging for a home run every time. You're trying to get on base. And in the long run, a year of 6 months, a year of trying to get on the base and take profit, you're going to see that account grow. Let's just say from 1,000 to 4,000. Instead of trying to swing for a home run and going from 1,000 to 4,000 within a matter of a couple of days, and then trying to replicate the same thing again, and you go from 4,000 down to 2,000. That's really not consistent. You want to consistently grow that account. Whatever plans you have, whatever rules you've set for yourself, whatever goals you've set, and I hope you have a goal where you're like, all right, and they have to be realistic goals. And that goes for anybody. You can't come on this market and say, you know what, I'm going to make $1,000 a week. As a new trader, that's unrealistic. And when you don't hit it, you can get very discouraged. Set a very realistic goal. I'm going to make $100 a day, trading. To me, that's very realistic. It's easily attainable. But if you're like, you know what, I'm going to make $500 a day. Yeah, that's not realistic for a new trader at all. I've had goals of $300 per day, and I was hitting them. There were times where I was making trading the traditional financial market. I was making $10,000 to $15,000 a week, and it was great. But yeah, you gotta have a realistic goal and just say, you know what, I want to make $100 a day, 5 days a week. That's $500. That's $2,000 within a month. And slowly but surely, you're going to end up growing that account. Let's see. AJ, I don't know if you're part of our Slack chat, bud, but definitely join, man. I would love to have a conversation with you about that. But let me see if I can answer your last question. Excuse me. Let's see. You've killed yourself over trading. Any advice on that? Thought about limiting myself to a trade a day or something. I just love shorter term scalping style, but don't know. Okay, let me see. It's gonna take a while to answer, but I'll try to shorten it out for you. So a lot of new traders coming onto this market will overtrade. And I think you kind of hit it on the head by saying, limit yourself to a trade a day or something to that extent. You don't want to overtrade. When you're overtrading, more than likely you're going to end up giving up the capital that you started out with, or really giving up the profit. One trade a day is not bad. I don't trade every single day, guys. I really don't. Unless the trade comes to me. If it comes to me, I'll take it. If it doesn't come to me, I don't get in it. So I could go a couple days without making a trade, but then the trade that I do make is very profitable. So, as a new trader, that might be the best thing to do, is to limit yourself to how many trades you're going to take and to wait for the best setups to come to you. And as long as you wait for the best setups, your reward versus your risk is a lot better. Short-term scalping is not too bad at all. To be honest with you, in the sense of short-term scalping, you have to, well, I don't know what you're scalping to. Is it the 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart? Those are really the ones. When you say scalping, that's what I refer to it. 30-minute chart is not really scalping to me. But if you're scalping on the 5-minute chart, scalping is not really profitable if you're going in with a very small position. It's not. You're going to make a little bit of money. You won't be making much. More than likely, you're going to be paying more in commission than what you're actually making, or you're just going to break even to an extent, or you just might make a little bit. Scalping is normally done with a very large, sizable position, because and I've scalped before, but I was scalping with 10,000 shares of an underlying stock, and I would buy it at $1. It would go up to $1.05. I just made 5 cents. But 5 cents times 10,000 is $500. So, if I would only bought 1,000, then I would have made $50. So I don't recommend scalping for new traders. I don't know, AJ, how long you've been trading for, but scalping for new traders, it's stressful. It is stressful to scalp. It is not easy at all. But yeah, if you're going to scalp, you have to have a very large sizable position. And the rule of thumb that I always follow is if you have a very large sizable position, your hold time should be very short. If you have a very small position, then your hold time can be very long. Because if it does dip on a very small position, in the sense of USD, you're not down that much. But if you hold for a very long time on a very large sizable position and it dips on you, then, you know, that 5-cent dip on 10,000 coins, you know, I just lost $500. So my holding time has to be very short if I'm scalping. But yeah, I don't recommend scalping as a new person coming onto this market. I don't recommend day trading for a new person coming onto this market. But as time goes on and you get better and better and better, then yeah, you could scalp. And I've scalped before. But yeah, you just got to find out, you know, what strategy works best for you. And there are all different types of trading strategies. I don't know all of them, to be honest with you, but I utilize the ones that work for me. So, and what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. So you really have to stick to one strategy. If you're a scalper, you're a scalper. If you're a long-term holder, you're a long-term holder. If you're shorting, you're shorting. If you're a long-term, you know, long-term hold in the sense of that you're buying low to sell higher, you're taking a long position, you're a long position trader. You know, stick to a simple, basic strategy of what type of trader are you. You know, you can't master all different types of strategies. You know, master one strategy first. Once you master that, then you can move on to the second one. You know, I know traders that they only short, and that's all they do in the stock market. Nothing else. They don't take any long positions. They don't scalp, but they will short. They will scour, you know, exchanges for something that's just going parabolic and going up for no apparent reason. And that's what they stick with. And they make tons of money doing that. Now, it's a lot of work to do that. You know, I mean, they don't have any other responsibilities. I mean, it's just them, so they can spend tons of time on the computer. But that's the strategy that they follow is I'm a short position trader or I'm a short trader, and I'm going to stick to that. And I'm going to stick to that only. When you start, you know, going on to different types of strategies, you're not going to master them. But yeah, definitely stick to one strategy, stick to it. So if you scalp in the 5 minute, 10 minutes, 15-minute candlestick, stick to that and don't, you know, move on to something else. Oh, AJ, sweet. I don't know what, you know, because a lot of you guys are on the general Slack chat, but you have a different YouTube name. So if you are on our general Slack chat, you know, while I'm doing this live stream all the time, definitely let me know, especially if you have a different name on our general Slack chat versus your YouTube channel or the YouTube name. Matthew, yes, absolutely, man. You know, 5% gainers, you know, 10% gainers on a daily basis adds up in the long run. But I think, you know, Matthew, a lot of traders look at this like, you know, it's easy money, it's fast money, but they don't realize that a 1% gainer is huge in the long run. You know, they're only thinking short term, and you got to have that long-term outlook and think long-term. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that 1% gainer every single day for a full year. It's a huge growth. But I don't think people are thinking the way you and I, especially with the way you stated that, they don't think that way at all. Honestly, you know, when I first started trading, I didn't think about that. You know, I was thinking like 1%, that's nothing. But 1% over a whole year is huge. Yeah, AJ, you know, we'll talk more about scalping, but yeah, I don't know how long you've been trading for. Like I said, scalping is stressful. It's not easy at all. Micro trading, oh man, whew. That's even worse. That's even worse. Yeah, man. Micro trading, dude. So basically, I mean, you know, you're competing against robo algorithms, algorithm bots. That's who you're competing against. And there's no way to compete against them. Micro trading, you know, I mean, scalping on that penny. Yeah, dude, it's stressful. It's stressful. I mean, I got gray hair already, you know, from trading the stock market because of how stressful it was. And I mean, I was, you know, making 3 trades a day and, you know, holding for no more than an hour. And that was still stressful, but yeah, micro trading, dude. But let's see, yeah, that was your biggest mistake. You know, and we all learn from our mistakes. We all learn from it the best way that we can. And, you know, we all kind of repeat our mistakes in the long run. but the best thing to do is try to learn from those mistakes and try not to repeat them. But, if you do end up repeating it, I mean, don't kick yourself over it. It's not the end of the world. So for the past 8 months, you've been trading, but past month full time. Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I stay away from shorting. I shorted twice. The first time was by accident. I didn't mean to short, but I made like $200 off of it. And that was when GDAX or Coinbase allowed margin trading. So I got into I activated margin, got into a long position, utilizing margin, and I was like, nice, I'm in the profit huge. Let me sell this. Hit the sell button. What it did was it opened up a short position, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, why is this saying that I'm my account is growing? And I'm like, I'm out of this position. And then finally it clicked in my head. I'm like, whoa, I executed that the wrong way. I was supposed to close out the margin and not buy, because what I thought I was doing was I thought I was selling the 100 Litecoins that I had, and I hit sell 100, and that actually put me in a short position. Once I realized it, I was able to cover, make a $200 profit, and then still have my 100 on a long position that I was able to sell at a profit as well too. And then the second time was, of course, when I shorted Ether and lost $30. But yeah, shorting is it's a dangerous game, and I'll tell any new person that's coming onto this, you could actually lose a lot more than what you put in. And a lot of people do lose a lot more than what they put in. So at least if you're in a long position, and let's just say, you put down $100 to buy an underlying asset, and it goes to zero, you only lost $100. But let's say, you decide to short it, and, I don't know why you would, but let's say you shorted it at $1. I wouldn't short anything at $1. And it decides, instead of going down, it decides to go up. The higher it goes, the more money you're losing. Your losses are unlimited on a short position if you're shorting. So when I say short position, I don't mean like your holding time is very short. I mean like you're shorting that position. You're expecting it to go down, so you're buying high, or you're borrowing the coins or the stock at a high price, instantly selling it on the market, waiting for it to drop down so you can buy at a cheaper price and return the coins or the stock back to whoever you borrowed it from. But yeah, if you're shorting, just be careful. You could lose a lot more. Let's see, either AJ Smith, Play J, or Crypto Love. Yeah, I don't know what your name is, but I'll get on Slack. Probably like by 12:30ish if I can, and then shoot me a message so then I know what your general Slack chat name is. All right, guys, I think this is time for me. I do appreciate the questions. I mean, this is great, and I wish I can continue this and keep it going. But unfortunately, I do gotta go. But I want to thank everybody that has joined. David Carroll, AJ, AJ. I appreciate all the questions, man. It's awesome. Vesna, K Boslick, Fang Dang. I hope I pronounced that right. Matthew, as always, bud. And anybody else that I missed. Mr. Welcome to this channel. Crypto Cutter, aka Rocky Mountain, Bulat. I don't know if you're still on here, but yeah, everybody that has joined, any new names that I've seen on here, you guys are awesome. Thank you for finding us. It's a pleasure to have you. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button, as well as the post notification, and stay connected with us on Steam, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And don't forget to sign up for our general Slack chat. It's a great community that we have going where, there should be somebody or, from chatting away, and there's people from all over the world, so different time zones. So more likely, you'll find somebody on there chatting, but just don't be shy. Say what's up. And it's a great community that we're building, and share some value, add some value to that general chat room. That's the only thing that I could ask. Bring some value to it, because, the more information that we can share with each other, the better off equipped that we're going to be to make that informed decision on our trades. Don't spread any FUD. Don't pump anything, but, share factual information. So, if you're good at scouring the web and finding news on a reputable website, and share that with us, because more than likely, somebody else hasn't heard about that you might have heard about. So like I said, the more information that we can share with each other, the better off that we're going to be. But yeah, until Friday, Until Friday, this is Crypto Trader and CryptoTraders Room, one of the only places where we eat, drink, sleep, dream, trade, and invest in digital currencies. I want everybody to have a blessed day. Nothing but the utmost respect. Peace and love. You guys take care.